In this episode, we'll be talking about PHP Forms. And using a PHP form, we can easily create a form on our web page, and we can have a submit button, and the user can submit the form data to another file. So let's go ahead and just jump into it, and I will show you an example of how we can create a form and then catch the data that is submitted from that form. So let's go ahead and just clear out this PHP at the top of the file. And I think I'm just going to create a form right here. So we'll just say form, and I'm going to give this an action, and I'm going to make this equal to, we'll say welcome.php. So we're going to submit this form to the welcome.php file. And then we also need to add another attribute, which is called method, and we need to specify whether this is going to be a post or a get. And I will show you the difference here shortly, but first let's go ahead and just make this a post method. Okay, now inside this form, maybe we want to have two inputs. So maybe we want to have a name input, and we will say input type equals text, and the name is going to equal name. And then I'll give it a placeholder of name. So we have the person's name, and then maybe we also want to capture their email. So maybe this is kind of like a contact form. So we'll say input, and the type is, we can say email, and the name is going to be email, and again the placeholder will say email. And then we need to have a submit button. So we're going to say this input type equals submit, and we can give this a value of submit. So let's go ahead and clear this H1, and I'm just going to add a paragraph tag right here and just say add your name and email below. And obviously this page is going to need some style. It's going to look very plain, but I just want to show you the basic functionality of a PHP form. So we are submitting to the welcome.php. Let's go ahead and save this, and let's make sure that our application is running. I can run php-s localhost, and I'll make that 8080. So now if we go ahead and go to our localhost 8080, we'll see that we now have our form here. So we can say Tony Lee at gmail.com, and I can click on submit. And you can see then it sends us to the welcome.php, but we actually didn't capture any of the data that we submitted from our form. So we need to capture that inside of our welcome.php. So to do this, we can use two globals, which is called $_get and $_post, which is just always available to us in PHP. So if I were to echo out $_post name, we should expect to get the name that was posted from the form to the welcome.php file. So maybe right here I'll just say hello and then the name. And then on a new line, we'll just say your email is, and then we'll echo out the email that was posted as well. So we'll say email right there. Let's go ahead and add a comma right there. Let's save this. Let's go back and let's try this out again. So we'll say my name is Tony Lee at gmail.com, and I will click on submit. And now we get hello Tony, your email is tonylee at gmail.com. So you can see with these global post variables, we can then pass in the name that we provided in the form. So we provided name right here and email, and we were able to capture it from this page. So that's how you can submit a form, and then maybe instead of just displaying it on the page, maybe you want to submit this to a database or maybe store that somewhere. So say this is like a user logging into a system. You probably don't just want to print out their name, you probably want to store it in a database. And we will cover databases in another series called PHP Mastery, but for now I just wanted to show you how we can submit a form using PHP. Okay, so now I told you that there are two ways. We can use a method called post, and we can also use a method called get. So let's go ahead and just switch that up, and let's go back here and resubmit our form. And now if we go ahead and click on submit, we're going to get undefined index because we actually can't capture the form data from the post global. And you can see that this actually did add all these values up here inside of the URL. So this is what a GET request is going to do. It's actually going to post the data as a GET request, and it's going to add them as URL parameters right up here. So say that we wanted to capture this data. Instead of using the $_post, we can just change this to $_get. So if I were to save that, we come back here and we reload. You can see now that we get hello Tony, your email is, and the email. And you can see that this is a little bit less secure. So this probably isn't something that you would want to pass, say like a password or anything else through a GET request. You typically want to use a POST request, but in some cases, you may just want to add a simple GET variable, and then you can capture it using the $_get variable. So you can see that here we could even change the name to John, and then down here it is going to reflect that the name is John. So there are still some use cases for using a GET request to post a form, but typically you will be using the POST method as opposed to the GET method. So that is it for PHP Forms. There's obviously a lot more to cover. We just covered some basic input text here and email. There's also different files that you could submit to the server and a bunch of other inputs that you can add data to and then post to your server. But for now, I just wanted to cover the very basics of creating a form and then submitting that data in PHP. Hey, thanks for checking out this PHP Basics video series. I hope you follow me on Twitter @TNYLEA, and if you're interested in moving on to the next video, go ahead and click right up here. And if you want to check out my latest course called SaaS Adventure, be sure to click right there, and it will teach you how to create your own profitable software as a service. But that's it for now. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video.